Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums, and today I'm gonna do a classic album review. I'm gonna review a classic album. Yay! Let's go. So, since Tool is about to drop a new album, why not? Let's do a review on the most iconic Tool album, Lateralus. So, Tool is a band from LA. They are a doom metal, math metal, art metal band. I guess that's how you would best describe their music, but really, their music is unlike any other band's music out there because the music they make is just so different. The band consists of vocalist Maynard James Keenan, who is an amazing lyricist as well. We got the drummer Danny Carey, who is one of my favorite drummers of all times because he's so good toying around different time signatures. He's so good playing all sorts of different percussions in like a small period of time. And also, it's like he has 8 hands. It's like he has 8 arms. It's crazy. He's like Dr. Octopus on the drums. And then we have Adam Jones, who is a great guitarist and who has great taste in art. Just look at the album covers for the Tool albums. They're pretty amazing. Also, we have Justin Chancellor, a pretty damn good bassist as well. Worked with Death Grips last year on Year of the Snitch. And so we have the band Tool. They have dropped Opiate, which is an EP. They have dropped Undertow, which is their first album. It's not that great, however. They dropped Anima in the year 1996, which is considered the best Tool album because every single song is so solid, it's so energetic, and it brings these really refreshing and visceral guitar riffs. And then we have Lateralus, where we see the band kind of go to a different direction where their music is not that aggressive, but more meditative and spiritual. Also, what I really, really love about Tool's music is that their music sounds like they're made in ancient, like, antiquities or something like that. Antiquities is basically the period of time before medieval times, antiquities, which is super old. And the reason being is that Tool's music sounds kind of religious. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not religious in that it's specifically Christian or Catholic or Buddhist or whatever. But it's religious in that it has a really strong ancient hymn vibe, if you know what I mean. And also they do bring some really cold and stale guitar riffs that sort of has this cold-blooded flair to them, and usually their chord progression is not as flowery or flavorful as other metal bands out there, but yet with these riffs they could bring out some of the most empowering and visceral melodies ever. And so this combination of sounds just makes their music sound a little religious and very, very meditative and spiritual. Also, it is a well-known fact that Tool always toys around time signatures, odd time signatures, and time signatures switching between each other in the middle of a song. It's kind of crazy. So we have Lateralus, and later on, 5 years later, they dropped 10,000 Days, which is also an album that I absolutely love and I find absolutely underrated. And I'm gonna be honest here, I don't think Lateralus is their best album, and I think that Lateralus and 10,000 Days are equally as enjoyable. But still, a lot of the songs on this album are fantastic, something that not a single metal band can imitate. We have the album opener, The Grudge, which is the first Tool song I've ever listened to. And the first time I've listened to Tool my mind was just blown. It was this crazy experience where you get these really repetitive but yet really sort of cold-blooded and somewhat mysterious but also powerful and visceral guitar riffs with a lot of potential energy. That alone already convinced me to listen to the rest of the album. So we have The Grudge, which is the album opener. It starts off with these camera, film, reel sound, and then we get these terrorizing guitar riffs, which sound like they're riding on the back of a horse rushing right at your face. And then we get these drums, these percussions, these toms, and these other drums, all bunch of drums just going left and right channel, and it's just this really overwhelming experience, and it hits a very loud point, and then it drops, and that's basically the intro. And then we get into the real core part of the song. Also, Tool makes a lot of giant songs, like songs that are 8 minutes long, 9 minutes long, sometimes 10 or 11. And then sometimes they would put like a small little interlude in between songs, but that's how their album format goes. So after the intro, we get the real core part of the song where Maynard James Keenan hops in and starts singing, and it just slowly builds up to the chorus where it gets super empowering and loud and noisy, and it's fantastic. But then, after a couple of verses and choruses, and the song doesn't end just there. MJK sort of recited the lines that he said earlier on in the song. Wear the grudge like a crown of negativity, calculate what we will or will not tolerate, desperate to control all and everything, unable to forgive the scarlet, let him wear the grudge like a crown. And then we get this part of the song where MJK's vocals and Danny Carey's drums are in this call response mode where MJK just screams and shouts, and we got the drums just blasting at our face. It's super duper exciting. And then when they two meet together, we get this super badass head-banging moment in the song where we get these really kick-ass guitar riffs and these really amazing constant drums. And then at the end, it quiets down, but it slowly but surely builds back up again into this really muscular and solid scream from MJK. So, yeah, overall, this is a spectacular album opener, and The Grudge is a criminally underrated Tool song. And then after that, we have the song Eon Blue Apocalypse, which is this interlude. Basically, it's a little over 1 minute long, and it's this dreary, aimless guitar doodle piece, which leads to the second track, The Patient, which is technically the third, but it's really the second. And on The Patient, it's not as loud or as powerful as other Tool songs, but yet it still sounds pretty amazing. We get these mathematic, finger-picked guitar crisps at the beginning, which sounds like a clock ticking. And then we get MJK's vocals, which are very gentle, which is really different from many other metal bands at the time. And it's really amazing that MJK kind of talks about, being patient, even though you're in a really painful position right now and you're on this very tedious path. You got to be patient if you want to survive this. And MJK is sort of writing in the perspective of his own mother, who sort of has a severe illness. And so it's actually really impressive that, many metal bands out there, write songs about violence and all that, but Tool writes songs about, morality all the time and just virtues in general. And it's actually really beautiful. And even though the guitar riffs at the end of The Patient is a little more simplistic in the Tool standard, it's this simple 4-chord riff that isn't all that special or anything. But still, I think the song overall has a great concept, and it's still pretty great as a metal song. And then we have the track Mantra, which is another interlude, where it's basically Maynard James Keenan squeezing his cat and recording its sound and then slowing it down. And it sort of leads to Schism, which is one of the most iconic Tool songs ever. We get these very dystopian and almost dark guitar chords at the beginning. Then we get the 5-4-7-4 or 5-8-7-8 guitar riffs, which are straight up iconic. Bam, 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 bam. I actually don't know how to play guitar, so this is nonsense. But yeah, the guitar riff of this thing is badass. It's cold-blooded, and it looks like the guy on the album cover, just frowning very seriously. But that guy is not angry. That guy is trying to tell humans to, be more aware of its own existence and consciousness. And so this is what the guitar riffs on this album sound like. They're not necessarily malice, but they're not easy or lighthearted at all as well. The lyrics is one of the best things about the song. The light that fueled our fire then has burned a hole between us. We cannot seem to reach an end, crippling our communication. So clearly this song is about arguing. And a lot of people had written songs about arguing, having a disagreement with a friend or a romantic partner or someone. But Tool is the only band in the world that could turn this concept into such a philosophical thing. And again, the lyrics. I've done the math enough to know the dangers of a second guessing. Wow. And later on, after the climax of the song, at the second half, we get these slower, quieter drums, which are really, really intricately performed. They are amazing. And then we get, MJK sort of moaning and groaning on top. And it's actually really beautiful and has a lot of potential energy. He sings, cold silence has a tendency to atrophy any sense of compassion. And it's another really, really amazing lyric from Tool that really stuck to me for a very, very long time. So yeah, overall, Schism is a solid track. It's a long-winded track, but it doesn't feel long at all. And I'm just really impressed overall. And then we have the track Parabol, which is this interlude track, which basically leads to Parabola. If you don't know what a parabola is, maybe it's because you didn't study maths well enough during high school or secondary school. Basically, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c gives you a parabola if you put that equation, that formula on a graph. And you can also make a very simple parabola if you just do y equals x squared. Say y is 1, then x has to be 1 squared, which is 1. That's why it's 1, 1. And then if you say y is 2, then x is 2 squared, which is 4. If y is 3, then the right hand side would be 9. So again, you get a parabola. That being said, the guitar riffs on this track is so powerful. It completely fills you with energy almost instantly while listening to the song. And we also get these very primal drums going from left to right and from right to left channels. They are amazing as well. We get these mystical vocals and these scratchy bass from behind, which builds a lot of tension to the song. And when the tension releases, when it hits the climax, it's amazing. It's orgasmic. It's just this really loud, just very bright chorus that's just unapologetic, and we have MJK singing this holy reality, this holy experience, choosing to be here in. So on this track, he kind of talks about how life is actually so rich. You have to actually experience it because life is a holy experience. And again, it's rare that a metal band would talk about something so philosophical, but here we are. Then we have the track Ticks and Leeches, which is a more of a straightforward song with these messy primal drums and these very angry, scratchy vocals. And this track basically yells at the music industry for profiting off of the artist's labors. And the second half of the song sort of quiets down a little bit, but then again at the very end it hits a crazy climax, and overall it's an okay song. Again, it's not great, but from a metal song standpoint, it is pretty good. And then we have the track Lateralus, which is the title track, and it is again one of the most famous Tool songs ever. I have a calculator here, and I'm gonna demonstrate the Fibonacci sequence. What's amazing about the song is that it accidentally followed the Fibonacci sequence on the first few lines. We have red, then white are all I see in my infancy, red and... Okay. What's amazing about the song is that it accidentally followed the Fibonacci sequence in the first few lines. Black and white are all I see in my infancy, red and yellow then came to be, reaching out to me, lets me see. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So this is 1. Okay, hopefully I don't mess this up. So I'm gonna do this 0 plus 1. If you do this, of course you get a 1, right? And then if you do if you flip it upside down, that is you get a 1. So it starts off with a 1, and then you sort of do this, and then you look at it, it's 1, 1, 2, and then you do that again, and then it's 3, that's the next number, and then you do that again, it's 5, the next number, and then you do that again, the next number is 8. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. That's pretty amazing of an accident, I must say. But what's also really amazing about the song, I'm gonna put it here, is that at one point in the song, the guitar riffs are in 9/8, 8/8, then 7/8 time signature. So it's 9/8/7. And apparently 9/8/7 is also a number in the Fibonacci sequence. So I'm gonna try. If I mess this up, it's gonna be awkward. Next number is 13. Next number is 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, 233, 377, 610, 987. There we go. So it's in the Fibonacci sequence, and it's just amazing how they pulled this off. And I'm impressed. Hey, what's the next number? 5097. I don't know if this is the right way to check the Fibonacci sequence, but at least it worked on my calculator, so I don't know. But yeah, it's amazing. And musically speaking, this song is fantastic. It is one of a kind as well. At first, we get these depressing but sort of hopeful guitars in the beginning, which are amazing. Then we get the guitar riffs, which is, as always, really badass and really powerful and visceral. We get these very primal and exciting drums, which is very intricately performed, and these whispery guitars during the verses. And then we hit the chorus where Maynard James Keenan goes, overthinking, overanalyzing, separates the body from the mind. He kind of talks about how overthinking and overanalyzing has bad effects on you, the mind. And I guess he has a point. And again, the second half sort of slows down and quiets down. We get these really intricately performed skippy hi-hats, which are just beautiful. And then we get Maynard James Keenan sort of slowly creeping back up from beneath, and we get a really, really amazing climax where Maynard just goes screaming, just, spiral out, and it's just a really amazing ending. So yeah, overall, this song is one of a kind. This is literally one of the best songs of the 2000s, and maybe the best Tool song. Yeah. Up next, we have the track Disposition, which is around 5 minutes long. Not that long in Tool standards. And this song is basically this instrumental track, well, mainly instrumental track, with these mystic drums and these warm guitars. And it's okay. It's okay. It does give off this very trippy, sort of otherworldly, mystic vibe, which I really, really love. But again, nothing all that powerful or visceral or weird from Tool. And then you have the track Reflection, which is over 11 minutes long. It's gigantic. And at first we get these round, bouncy percussions, which are amazing. I don't know how Danny Carey made that happen. We get these sinister guitar riffs, and it sort of builds into this Southern Asian tinged, flavored instrumental once again. And then we get Maynard's very disembodied vocals. And again, nothing all that powerful or exciting, especially in terms of Tool standards. But again, I love how mystifying and otherworldly and trippy this song feels, and also psychedelic in a way. And then after that, we get the track Triad, which is over 6 minutes long, but the whole song is basically this raw, energetic guitar rager, which is not that bad, but again, not all that special. I can actually cut this song away and make the album shorter, and it'll still be fine. And the album ends off with this weird 2-minute long outro called Fayip de Oyad. I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything, but it's basically Enochian. Yes, Enochian for voice of God. So apparently Enochian is a language that isn't really from a specific language family of some sorts, and it's a language that nobody really uses now, but it's apparently one of the languages used in writing the Bible, I think, in a very, very long time ago, and linguists sort of decoded it. Oh my gosh. That's 378. I don't know why I'm noticing numbers now. But yeah. Yeah, this track, I don't know if I should laugh at this track or be afraid of this track, because with the buzzy industrial noise and the uncontrollable drums, it's a little unsettling, it's a little disturbing. But in the meantime, there are sort of spoken word on top of it. Spoken word, more like a skit on top of it, where this guy sort of talks about Area 51 and how these aliens are coming to get us. So it's a pretty crazy and unsettling ending. It's hard to decrypt it, it's hard to decode it, but again, if you overanalyze it, if you overthink about it, it separates your body from your mind. So you know what? Let's just leave it here. Lateralus is a fantastic album, even though there are slow moments where it's not that exciting, relatively speaking. But still, there are a handful of great moments in this album, some really badass guitar riffs, some amazing lyrics, and the drums, they are fantastic. They're one of a kind, and I like this album a lot. My favorite track here is the title track, and my least favorite is Triad. I'm giving Lateralus a 9 out of 10. A strong 9, that is. So, have you listened to Lateralus by Tool? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like if you like it, hate if you hate it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. Also, why the fuck did Pitchfork give this album a 1.9? They must be taking the piss, right?